Going on, everybody? Well, this evening I thought I would do a little summary video and show you some of the details of my coffee roaster. One of the things that was very difficult was the placement of these hinges. I ended up putting them out here instead of in here like I had them before, trying to use some of these screw holes, but this didn't work, obviously. So putting them over here worked out real well, except for the fact that I needed to move these in probably 3/16 of an inch, because this hole is right on the lip of the roasting vessel. But what I did here is I had to offset them with a couple stainless washers so that this is level, and worked out fine so far. And the reason for, part of the reason for that is because of this. Now, on my last video I didn't have the screws, if you'll notice, and the reason is because I needed to put this little plate extension in right here, and it is held off by two, I think they're number 6 stainless steel washers. Because of the gap in here, it was causing the beans to fall through. This wasn't cut very precisely, but which is okay as long as I have something to make up this gap right here. So because the beans going through and some of the tolerances, I had to put this little spacer in here. There we go. Yeah, that's a nice focused shot right there. And also to keep this door level and not have it in and rubbing against the drum here. So here's a couple, these are the two bolts that I will take the face off and show you in a minute how they're done, but these are the two bolts that hold the face plate on. And I had to cut this down from the original piece so it would, these hinges would fit. So I may need to put another little stainless screw here. Now the shaft here, considered cutting it, but I think I'm going to leave it, because in this version I do have an issue with the gears wanting to skip in the back if it rotates clockwise. But if I rotate it counterclockwise, I really don't have that much problem, if any at all. So let's get this face plate taken off and take a look inside. So here are the two angle brackets that I have drilled into the roaster housing to hold the face plate on. These are 1024 stainless steel screws, stainless steel angle pieces. There we go. And one thing I do notice is I am having a little bit of leakage, but that's actually, I think, from when it rotates clockwise. When it rotates counterclockwise, I don't get that much leakage. What's happening is as the shaft here rotates, it wants to kick it up. This gear wants to kick it up, and then causes the gap here in front on bottom, and that's why they fall through. So when I rotate it the other way, it doesn't seem to want to do that. So I may need to put some sort of a piece on top to hold that shaft down. But that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot to show. I do have the little 1/4 stainless screws holding on these outer pieces. One last item I wanted to show you that I wasn't planning on putting in, but I needed to, was this angle piece. And the reason for this is because my drum was a little bit too long, and I didn't want to cut any length off the drum. I wanted to just try to make up the 1/8 inch that I needed, because the drum was rubbing on the faceplate. So to do that, I looked around, tried to figure out what I was going to do, and I noticed that the bottom of this pot was concave, and it was about 1/8 of an inch right at center. So by putting this in and using the existing screws I had that hold the shaft on in here, I was able to pull this relatively flat and make up that 1/8 of an inch. So that worked out really well. The other item that I'm going to eventually have to do something with is this synchronous motor here. Now this motor is 3 revolutions per minute, but I really want something a lot faster. But what I'm finding is these synchronous motors, I can get another one that probably will do 10 RPM, is the highest one I've seen. But unfortunately, the shaft comes to about right here, and it has a female thread on the shaft, but I don't really have any way of cutting the shaft and putting it on a new motor. So for right now, we're just going to have to deal with this 3 RPM and eventually have one custom made to reuse this gear on the inside. But for now, it'll work. It's doing its job. So that's it for now.